This is Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. And I am your co host, DC Marshall, and he is
Alfred Edmond Jr.
And today, on today's show, I'm really interested and excited about today's guest because today's guest, I think, is such a powerful example of really how God uses us on big platforms and small platforms. I think today's show, we're going to talk about how God uses people in the pulpit, right? A traditional pulpit inside the church, and then how it is that God uses us outside of the church and wherever it is that we are and whatever space we occupy, how it is that God can use us. So our guest was, I think, very well known as an actor. And so I think he has a powerful story. And so, Alfred, what say you about today's show?
I'm most excited about our guest today because she's going to be talking to us about being in blessed mode. Remember that phrase, blessed mode. I'm with Dee, so I try to stay in blessed mode at all times on Be Lifted Up Radio. But we're going to get a powerful set of tools, a powerful ministry, a powerful word from a brilliant guest. You're going to all know him when we introduce you to him. And so it's going to be a very, very special edition of Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. Stay right here. Welcome back to Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. Dee, we will have a great show today because we have a great guest. And I want to talk about this idea of being in blessed mode, which whenever I'm around you, I'm in that mode anyway. But talk about getting there, staying there in the blessed mode, because our guest is really going to take us there today.
No, I'm excited. All right, so Kel Mitchell, I know you were part of an initiative last year, YP 1000, and I started, I would say, following Kel online and all of his work. So because I was really impressed to see just that he's a creative, a genius in acting, but he also is a man of God. So anyway, we want to be respectful and mindful of time, as the church would say, as the church would say. Hey there, Kel.
Hey, what's happening? What is up? What's up?
You tell us what's up. You got a book that's doing great, Blessed Mode. You just dropped a hip hop single of the same name. I heard a rumor that a music video is coming. Talk to us in general about your path as a man of faith, and also how that's informing some of the things you're doing creatively as a world-class performer, entertainer. We all know Good Burger, Kenan and Kel. You've been with us for a long time, brother, a whole generation, maybe two. But talk about everything that you're doing now. And of course, you're a youth pastor at Spirit Food Christian Center. It's amazing. You're a perfect guest for the show. But talk about where you are now, what you're doing, and why you're doing it.
Why I'm doing it? I'm doing it to be transparent. I'm doing it to empower. I'm doing it to let people know that they are beautifully and wonderfully made. I'm doing it because mental health is such a serious thing. A lot of people are hurting. I'm doing it because a lot of people need to be healed and know that Jesus can provide that healing when they decide to look through the eyes of God and not look at it through, at what I'm seeing in the natural. Because, when you have faith, you got to understand that, okay, these ideas, these creative things, and this breakthrough that I know God has shown me that I can get through whatever situation or whatever thing that I'm dealing with, I can get through it. Through this obstacle, I can get through it. God is showing me, but in the natural, I'm not seeing it just yet. But what I want people to know, when you stay within blessed mode and when you stay in that focus, that God is saying, I'm going to get you there. That is the beautiful thing. And when you get there, it's okay, now I can help my brother and sister that might be going through something that I went through a year ago, 2 weeks ago, and I can show them how to get through it. Because at the end of the day, we are ambassadors for Christ. We are influencers for Christ. And that is the thing that we are. And that's what the enemy is so crazy about it, because he wants to stop our influence. He wants to stop our influence. He wants to stop us from going and helping others and letting them know about the love that God has. That's the thing. And so it's so important to me, being a celebrity, being within this business, that I show them the God in me. And the reason I'm able to do what I'm doing, or even I'm on the platforms that I'm on, it's all ministry. It's all about setting people free. Even especially this last week, but it just within general, with celebrities, we are people too. So it's a thing of, it's no difference. Everyone goes through their own journey, their own emotions. They have their own stories, their own ups and downs. But at the end of the day, everybody needs to receive healing from things that they are dealing with. Yeah.
One of the things that we associate your work with is fun. And when we talk about, engaging particularly young people in faith in the church, often there's this thing, well, that may not be very fun. But I mean, again, blessed mode, Jesus doesn't mean for us not to enjoy ourselves, to enjoy life. In fact, joy is a fruit of the Spirit. Joy is of Jesus. Joy is of God. Yeah. Talk to me about the fact that you are a person who, a comedian, actor, you are a fun person, even when you weren't having fun outside of God, but you didn't leave that fun behind as a faith leader, as an entertainer. I know you must have had a good time with No Big Deal and Scooty Wop making the song. Talk about that aspect of joyousness in your ministry and in your work.
Let me tell you this, like happiness and joy, a lot of people mix that together. That's two different, but it's totally two different things. And happiness is like, oh, somebody got me a gift. Woo! I'm happy within that moment. But joy is remaining happy even with what's going on. You know what I mean? So even if there's something that's a struggle that you're dealing with, or there's a crisis, you still find the Christ in it. You still find the joy in it. You still find the gratefulness in it. And that's keeping that joy no matter what the situation is. And that's what's beautiful about it. And so when I started to figure that out, because I even went through a test this week. We just shot the music video, and it was just like, okay, I'm going through some things in my life right now, but I got this music video that's coming up. You know what I mean? I got this going on, and the God reminded me of the joy. You know what I mean? The joy. This song and what we're saying. Like within the song, I'm saying my ending has changed because I chose to follow God. You know what I mean? I went through the fire, but I don't smell like smoke because of the fact that I went through it, and who we're touching through it. And of course, where the enemy is going to try to come and bring things and thoughts into my mental. And so for me, it's like, yo, I want to show people that you can still have that joy. And that joy went on to the video shoot. That joy was on everybody. I still got people calling me right now at the video shoot saying, yo, man, we just love the hospitality. We love the, and one brother that's on my crew, because I have a great, amazing crew that I work with. He said, man, I just love the atmosphere that was created before we started filming. And that is what I want to hear. That's literally what I want to hear, because we can change our atmosphere by the joy that we bring. You know what I mean? And through our actions. And that's really what it's about. So that's why I'm always into Christian hip hop, Christian music, and just the fact of like just being you and unapologetically you and repping the Lord. So anybody that's repping God, I'm all for it. Clothing lines, whatever it may be, because it's always, it's ministry within what you're doing. You could be just whatever you're wearing. You know what I mean? His glory alone. That's what that means. So you're walking around and you're saying that, and you're walking, doing that, and somebody goes, wow, okay, yeah. And this was a born again hooligan. Like you be going through some things, but you're born again and you can get through it. You know what I mean? And people might think you're crazy. You know what I mean? But you're not. But you're not, and the world will try to make you think that. But the thing about it is that you're crazy for the Lord. And so, yes, to answer your question, I know that was a long answer, but to answer your question, yes, I'm keeping my joy. That same swag that I have, that swag was given to me by God.
Amen.
That creativity is given me by God. That fun is given to me by God. And that's the thing that we have to show people, because so many people think like, if you love the Lord, you got to be like, and then act like you were baptized in lemonade, like in lemon juice, and you just like I love the Lord. No, nobody would want to, say, okay, I'm going to believe this peace that you're telling me about when I'm looking at you and you don't even act like you even got any peace and you're mean and you're all these different things. Joy comes from the Lord.
Amen.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, joy comes from the Lord and swag comes from the Lord. You know what I mean? As well. You know what I mean? So he's the one that gives it to us. He breathes life into us. So yeah.
Well, listen, man, we got a couple more minutes before we go to break. Yeah. I want to dive deeper, along with Dee, into the book that inspired this new song. Blessed Mode, you put out late last year, I believe. Blessed Mode, 90 days to level up your faith. And I know that's the real mission. The song, obviously, is to have fun. It's a great music, and it's another platform for ministry. But I really want to get into this book, which I think is a much needed book right now. As we, again, try to encourage everyone, but certainly try to encourage young people, many of whom are struggling with mental wellness issues coming out of these last couple of years. So yeah, listen, you're listening to Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. We're here with the one and only Kel Mitchell, who just dropped his new hip hop single, Blessed Mode, featuring No Big Deal and Scooty Wop. And listen, man, we're just so glad to have you on the show. We will be right back.
And we're back. It's Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. And we are here with the right Reverend, Doctor, Pastor, all the energy, all the swag, the actor, producer, you know what? Son of the Most High God. How about that? Boom.
Hey, come on.
That'll work.
But before we went to break, Kel, you just gave us a whole lot, and I just wanted to tease out and unpack a bit why I think you are so necessary. You are so relevant. You are such an awesome model of I think, man of God, man of faith, and man and spirit and all of that. And so the one thing that you said about joy and about your crew, I think what I heard and what I felt is, yeah, people know who you are when you show up in the room. And so when you show up and all of your people are in your space, they probably feel, right? They feel some kind of way. They feel different. They feel the presence and the energy of God. They may not be able to put their hand on it, but right. But you're introducing, as you mentioned, you are a brand ambassador. We are all brand ambassadors here to represent and to reintroduce Christ. So I think that's so relevant. Yeah. In fact, even like right now, Kel, because the church, people are leaving the church. Gen Y, Z, they don't feel welcome, or it doesn't look like, something that would be inviting. So, I just really wondered if you could just say more about how church, because I feel like you're the church, right? Your platform is your pulpit. Come on, somebody. Your platform is your pulpit. Wherever you go, your platform is your pulpit. Come on. Like they don't need to come into four walls like, oh, baby, that's over. Okay? I mean, it's not really over, but it's canceled in some ways in terms of new business development. I use this term, biz development, that is reaching the unreachable. You have to be out and about and look like something of interest. So yeah, I just think your platform. So what's your reaction or response to that?
My reaction is that even as a pastor, it's very important to me that I am, because I talk about being transparent so much. And when I'm talking to my teens, because I'm a youth pastor, and when I talk to my teens, I want them to know, like, look, I've been through this, what you're going through. And I still go through things now, but I'm going to show you how my prayer and my faith in God is going to get me through what I'm going through. And I'm also going to show you how it's going to get you through too. And that doesn't mean that that's just on Sunday that I'm showing you this. Because what I want you to see is that when you look me up online or you look me on Instagram and you see me and you follow my family and you see what's going on, you see that, oh, that stuff Pastor Kel was talking about on Sunday, he's still being a testament of that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And what that also does is too, the four walls are also important as well because of the team effort that happens in that. Because when there is that abundance of prayer that happens because a lot of people don't have this love within their family. So then their church home becomes the family, right? So when you have a lot of people praying you through, that's definitely beautiful as well. So what happens is that what I've started to see was with my my platform being my pulpit, like you said, what happens within that is that I've had people come and say, man, brother, I came to the church because we'll have a new member that comes and they'll go, well, how did you hear about the church? Well, your youth pastor was online and he was talking about this morning, he was just talking about God and it motivated me. And I said, yo, let me check out where this brother go to church. Boom. You see what I'm saying? And then right then and there, it's like it's really about getting to them, reaching them where they're at. And to answer about Bless Mode, that is really how Bless Mode came together, because Bless Mode was something I was doing on Instagram. I used to do Mr. Mitchell morning motivation. And I used to go, because it was a whole bunch of M's, Mr. Mitchell morning motivation. And I would get up and I would work out and I would say like maybe 30 seconds of something inspiring to help people get ready for their day. And then a prayer with it. And it was literally saying, get ready for your day. You could do this. Now, every day did I feel like getting up and doing that? No. And it was one moment where I really wasn't going to do it. And my wife said, you know, shout out to my wife, Asia. he finds a good thing. Find a good thing. She is such a good thing. Okay. So, so my wife, she was just like, yo, people are looking for you to do it. You know what I mean? So do it, even if how you're feeling within that moment, but be real about how you feel it. So I said, I bet. So I told them, I don't even feel like doing this right now, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And I'm doing it right now because I feel like I need to motivate myself and motivate y'all to get up and let's go do this real quick and get ready for our day, get ready for this workout, get ready for what we need to do today. And within doing that, it was this beautiful thing that happened where it was a blessing to be a blessing, where people from UK and all over saying, man, I watch you do Mr. Mitchell morning motivation every day. And it helps me. And it was like, man, brother, thanks for doing it. Thanks for stepping out. And then what it showed is that through the struggle, through whatever I'm going through, I'm still going to uplift my Lord. I'm going to say Christ is everything to me. And that means in everything that I do, and he gives me the power of endurance. He gives me the power to get through it. And so within doing that, it was a blessing. And I said, man, I'm going to continue to do it. So as I was continuing to doing that, then I, also became a pastor, and that was a journey too, because people had always been speaking that over my life, but that was something that I had to hear from God, from him, so I could confirm it. And he confirmed it within my meditation time. And he showed me scripture after scripture about going and speaking the good news and going and speaking the gospel. And what's funny about it is that Jesus was setting me up to do this anyway because of my platform and me speaking to families through my comedy and my acting. And then them times when he said, well, I know you're going through some things, but I want you to go speak to this juvie home. I want you to go speak to these kids that are dealing with stuff at a high school. Well, I'm going through stuff. You want me to motivate them? He's like, no, you go motivate them. And with me doing that and having programs in LA that I work with, and it's beautiful when you have those breakthrough moments in your life, when it's things that everybody was looking at you saying, you shouldn't be able to do this. And this issue or this situation that you're going through is going to break you down. But when you say, no, my God is going to get me through this, and they see it actually manifest because of your prayer and your consistency and your faith, it's such a power within that is so beautiful, because now, like I said, you're infecting others with that love. And so with Bless Mode, that was a very deep thing for me too, because it was like when everyone said, hey, you need to do a book, your journey is so deep, your story is so deep, the stuff you've been through, I said, no, I want to do a devotional, because devotionals help me in my ups and downs, because I had such a busy lifestyle and still do. It's a way to get with God and just get prepared for my day and prepared for things that are coming up, because I don't know what's coming up. He knows what's coming up. So if I get prepared and say, Lane, let me take all this anxiety, distress, or whatever I'm going through and take it to you in prayer. And then you keep me prayed up. You keep my family and everything, my wife and everyone protected. So now I go out with the armor of God. Just like I go outside with clothes on, I prepare to say what I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna go in this closet and figure out what I'm gonna wear. So you're gonna go outside, not spiritually ready for the day. You got to do the same thing. Go into that spiritual closet and get what you need to get and let God bless you so you have that spiritual armor on so you're ready for your day. And that's really what blessed mode is. It's for believers and people wanting to have a connection with Jesus that haven't found it yet. It's also for them too, to let them know within every emotional wall there is a breakthrough, and you were made for a purpose. And this is a reminder. That's what the word of God is. The Bible is just reminders to say, hey, listen to these stories of these people that triumph through faith, and I want to remind you that you have the same power to do it through Jesus Christ.
You're right.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You're right on point. And as we get ready to go, wrap up and you get to break, I also want to remind you of something else that you said. When God sends you someplace where you're not ready to do it, and the whole world's looking at you and saying you can't do it, and you do it anyway, who gets the glory? God gets the glory. That's the thing I like about it, when he's like, no, I know I can't do it. And he's like, yeah, but go anyway. Because I'm going to be the one to do it, and I'm going to get the glory. So that's really great. Listen, you're listening to Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. We're here with the one and only Kel Mitchell. Kel, I want you to talk about some of the devotionals that are in the book. I know you've identified a few, and we'll be right back with Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life.
Hey.
It's Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. And we are back with Kel Mitchell. And you know what? I'm going to no longer put a label. He's just a man of many talents. But I think what's more importantly, he's just a man of God doing what it is that God has called him to do, what he feels led to do, being respectful and responsible with his platforms and his gift. And we already know he is, his platform is his pulpit. So how about that? So you know what, Kel, I really wanted to get the backstory of how you became a pastor, or that journey, because you mentioned that people had already seen that in you, or really had spoke that. And so I'd love to get the backstory. And then I love that the book is a devotional, because I could feel and sense you wanted us to work at this daily, if it's a devotional. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if you could share the background and then talk about this journal. Yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. There was a point in my life where I didn't want to be here anymore. And so when that happened, I literally was at the top of a building in Canada, and I was saying, look, that's it. I want to hit the stop button. I don't want to be here anymore. And all the things I had been through, the emotions, the decisions, the mistakes, all these different things, I felt like this would fix it, right? And within that, I heard clear. Now, back then, I wasn't the man I am now, but because I would say, oh, I heard something tell me, go into that bathroom, and you lock the door and don't come out until you don't feel like this anymore. But I know that was God. And so I did that, and I decided to live. Now, within that, it was a journey of changing my lifestyle, a long journey of healing. That's why I talk about healing so much, where it was a long journey of me. You know, when you heal, you got to also, after you've been healed and you're going in an operation, after you go through operation, you have to go through a recovery period. When you go through the recovery periods, a lot of times it takes time for certain things in your body to be recovered. So it's like, if you have a pattern of things that you were doing that was not righteous, or even in your mental or thinking that you're doing, you have to start to look at those patterns and start chipping away of like, how can I switch this around? How can I do this? And when we say in the word of God, when we say, hey, search my heart, Lord, you know what I mean? That's literally what you're saying. Search my heart, Lord, to see that what is not of you. What do I need to change? And sometimes that can be very hard, especially when it's habitual sin, habits that you just keep on doing. You know what I mean? Right. And so within that, he was doing that. And I would just allow God to say, okay, God, I'm going to just, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. You know what I mean? And so when he started telling me that, I remember where I had an evangelist speak to me. She said, hey, Kel, I'm going to call you every day. And every night, and we're going to pray. And we're going to pray some things off of you, if you know what I mean. And so praying things off of you, because at the end of the day, this is spiritual warfare. And I'm very real with people about that, because there's some spiritual warfare going on. There's generational curses. There's things you take on with laying in the bed with people. There's all kind of spirits that you could take on, and you got to get that stuff off of you. So she was praying me through a lot. And sometimes I would be coming home from the club. You know what I mean? I'm on the phone and she be praying me through, right? And a lot of this was building what I'm talking about now with Bless Mode, where you are literally renewing your mind daily. Like, you have to do that. This thing is like the mind is like a chip that keeps everything, the disk. And you have to literally, the enemy would try to use it and use people against you to just like make you go back, or make you just, and through your frustration, make the wrong type of choices. So anyway, as I started to walk in God's purpose for my life, my love and my empathy for others started to change. You know what I mean? Where I was having high doses of empathy, you know what I mean? And where people's heart was, and where I wanted them to see, like, man, you got to do what God is doing. And so what started to happen within that is that my voice started to change. The things I talked about started to change, and where I was. And a lot of people started to go, man, I need to start preaching. You need to start doing this. And even when I was a kid, people would tell me that. And I remember at my church, Spirit Food Christian Center, my pastor, Gary Ziegler, I remember he came to a event that me and my wife were doing out here in Carson, California. And what we were doing was where we put on a show that was for kids. This was back in the jerk movement when kids was doing jerk dancing, right? And so we put on an event where a safe place for them, from kids from Carson, from Compton, South Central, all of them to come and actually dance. And they would win an award and all this stuff. And in that time when they were there, I would pray for them in the beginning. And we would pray for them. And we had our pastor come to one of them, and he looked around. And in them moments, the Lord was telling him, like, man, this needs to be, Kel is within ministry. This is what's happening. And he said, Lord told him, and he waited years. He said, the Lord was preparing Kel to be able to accept the call. So he told me that, you know, and when I just told him, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about, I think I'm going to do it. And he said, man, the Lord told me that 5 years ago.
Wow.
And but he was like, I just waited. And it broke me down, because, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, but it's just that's the thing about it. When we got to really know, when God says that I won't give you so much that you can bear, like he won't give you, like, that means he understands the strength that you have. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, if you go into something really, really crazy and really, really hurtful, he knows you're going to be able to get through it. You know what I mean? And what is it that is in you that the enemy knows will influence others and help others? Through your healing, you can help someone else. And what is it that the enemy knows? Because the enemy knows what's coming up too, that what you're going to do through the power of God, that's why he doesn't want you to live. You see what I'm saying? And that's what, and so everybody's listening right now, and you're feeling that you're at that moment. I'm telling you, live. The Lord loves you. Live. You can help others through your healing, and through you going, having the courage to say, let me go after these blessings. Let me go after the things that he's telling me to do. And you asked me before, as far as Bless Mode, that's all this, like the stories that are in here in Bless Mode. It's a different story every day. But I wanted to touch people's heart, to show them to keep going. I got one in there called Fully Rely on God. It's called Frog. And it's fully rely on God, like the acronym FROG. And when you fully rely on God, I talk about how frogs, they don't drink through their mouth. You know, we see, you know, Kermit with the tea in all those memes. He's drinking with his mouth, but they don't do that. They drink through these water pockets through their body. So it's through their thighs and it's in their body. But they have to be in the water where they're submerged in it. So it's like a tree that is planted by the water. It's like, you have to understand, stay planted. You are going to be okay. He's going to give it this living water to keep you sustained through all that you are going through.
Woo!
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa. You know, wow. I just had this revelation. I had a revelation during the pandemic, that we are born immersed in blessings the way fish are born in water, but they don't know it. until they leave the water, and then you're made aware that actually I've been blessed all along. I've been complaining, I've been talking about things. So that you're thinking about frog, I'm gonna be using that, bro. Trust me, I'm using that. Yeah, because we are born immersed in blessings the way fish are born in water. But if we don't realize it, we won't recognize the full value of our citizenship in the family of God, because we won't know it. Yeah. Oh man, that's just so powerful.
Yeah. So while, thank you for, just being so transparent and being so obedient. I'm glad that you lived, Brother Pastor. I really am. I'm glad that God is using you. In fact, we're getting ready to close out, and this is our last segment. So we definitely want to give you the last word in terms of what you want people to know, where you want people to follow or plug in. So we'll give that to you in the 1 minute that we have left.
Okay, definitely. I'll say this, Bless Mode available everywhere. And also the song is out, available everywhere. You can download it. But the thing about being in blessed mode, the real thing to understand is that you are already made blessed. You are already blessed. And the thing about it is that when you were born and you were knitted in your mother's womb, you were blessed. All right. So this is just a reminder to let you know the power that you have. That's what this is all about. So keep going, keep living. I love y'all. Yeah.
Bless mode. And we will be right back. It's Be Lifted Up. Wow. What an awesome show. Listen, I'm encouraged. I am not just encouraged, I would say I'm inspired. I'm inspired by Kel, by his backstory. I'm so glad he lived. And I'm inspired by how it is that God uses us in different ways, and how it is that we all have a gift. And I'm just grateful for the work that Kel Mitchell is doing on screen, through music, through traditional ministry and beyond. So there it is that you had it or have it for today's show. So you got to follow Kel Mitchell. Alfred.
What I loved about Kel and his story is again, a lesson that I've had to learn multiple times in my life. That often what we think of as punishment is really preparation. The things that Kel went through without realizing it was actually preparing him to do the assignment that God has him doing now as a youth pastor, and using all of his platforms to glorify God. So I always remind others, what we're thinking about is punishment. That's the world's point of view, but it's really preparation. That's God's point of view. And if we look at it that way, it'll get us through those tough times. Listen, thank you again, Kel, for being part of the show. You listen to Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. You can stay in touch with us on social media platforms at Be Lifted Up Radio. That's the letter B, Lifted Up Radio. And you can listen to this episode and other episodes of the show at Mocha Podcasts, with an S, podcastnetwork.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.